forced by Grandpa to marry me, a man 5 years younger. The arrogant heiress planned to pretend to agree, just to placate the old man. But just as she was about to spend the night with me, Grandpa pulled her into the study for a talk. Don't try that newlywed nonsense with me. Sharing a room but not a bed. Staying out of each other's business after marriage. And each doing your own thing. Feng Wanning froze. How does Grandpa know what I am thinking? Can Grandpa read my mind? As long as you have a child, I will not interfere with anything else you do. Grandpa, are you treating me like a woman whose only purpose is having babies? Yes. Would you rather have a child? Then go wherever you please and enjoy yourself. Or work at the company from 9 to 5, slaving away for over 10 hours every day. You choose. No matter which you choose, you must have a child. Even if you go to work, you still have to have a child. Fine. I will have one. Doesn't Grandpa want to babysit? I will give him 8 or 10 children, and work that wretched old man to death. Feng Wanning stormed back to her room. The moment she opened the door, she saw me. Feng Wanning never expected to see such a sight when she opened the door. She stood there stunned. This? What do I do? Seeing her stand motionless in the doorway, I said nothing, and went straight to dry my hair. Feng Wanning finally entered the room. Only then did she notice the room had been completely transformed. There was no need to guess. It had to be Butler Zhao. At his age, he still hadn't learned to keep a low profile. Why is this man not nervous at all? Aren't men supposed to be nervous their first time? Or is this not his first time? What a double standard. Why am I still a virgin while he is not? I am getting the worst end of this deal. After I dried my hair, I saw Feng Wanning sitting on the sofa. She was neither bathing nor saying a word. Aren't you taking a shower? Feng Wanning looked at me, cheeks puffed out, and snapped. What? Do you think I am dirty? I paused. I did not understand why she had suddenly become angry. Not at all. Feng Wanning gave a little huff. I looked at her, thought for a moment, then said, Let's talk. Feng Wanning stared blankly at me, her body tense and rigid. Talk about what? About when you want to sleep. Shall we sleep now? All right. Feng Wanning could not think at all. She could only stare at me blankly, her face red, as though her soul had been stolen away. Weren't we just going to sleep? Why are you kissing me? The next morning, Feng Wanning was still asleep, but instinctively burrowed into my arms. The unfamiliar sensation made her pause. When she opened her eyes, she met my cold gaze. What are you doing? Her face flushed with embarrassment. She instinctively wanted to apologize, but the words stopped at her lips. Why should I apologize? I am the proud heiress of the Feng family. When have I ever apologized to anyone? Chen is my husband. Whatever I do to him is only natural. With that thought, Feng Wanning pressed herself directly against me, curling into my embrace. Judging by her expression, I roughly understood what she meant. So I said, Wait until tonight. Feng Wanning blushed, then let go of me, got out of bed, and went to the bathroom. I finally relaxed. I took out my phone and opened an app to check her ovulation dates. Grandpa Feng had approached me himself back then to negotiate with me. He wanted me to marry Feng Wanning. The terms Grandpa Feng offered were impossible to refuse. Shares and assets of every kind. In return, he had only two requirements. First, after we married, I was to help, support, and push Feng Wanning to become capable, so she could one day shoulder the Feng group's responsibilities. Second, we were to produce an heir for the Feng family as soon as possible. I needed to get her pregnant soon. Feng Wanning came out after showering. She found that I had already washed up and dressed. Then we went downstairs together. Grandpa Feng was having breakfast in the dining room, with Butler Zhao attending him. They both paused when Feng Wanning and I appeared. Grandpa Feng and Butler Zhao exchanged a look. Did nothing happen between them? Feng Wanning did not notice the two old men's looks. She simply sat down and asked a maid to bring her breakfast. I greeted Grandpa Feng with a slight smile and took a seat as well. Chen, did you sleep well last night? Quite well. Feng Wanning blushed for no apparent reason. Seeing that I looked well rested, Grandpa Feng knew I was not lying. Grandpa Feng shot Feng Wanning a glare. Feng Wanning was baffled by it. Why are you glaring at me first thing in the morning? We are married, and we have already spent our wedding night together. What more could you be unhappy about? The older Grandpa gets, the harder he is to please. He has such a beautiful, obedient granddaughter, and he is still not satisfied. After breakfast, I left for work. Feng Wanning wanted to go back upstairs and catch up on sleep. They'd been at it all night. She had not slept well either. Grandpa Feng stopped her. Stop right there. Where are you going? Back to my room to sleep. Sleep? What sleep? Get your butt to the office and work. What? Grandpa, you want me to work at the company? Didn't you say that as long as I stayed home and focused on having a baby, I would not have to work? Then have you been focusing on having a baby? How have I not? HMPH. Only you know whether you have or not. How would I know? Would I lie to you? Have you not lied to me enough already? Zhao. Go get a knife. Yes, sir. Grandpa, why are you getting a knife? To end my life, of course. What else would I do with it? Grandpa, have you never heard the story of the boy who cried wolf? I used to worry that if anything happened to me, you would be all alone in this world, living a hard life. But I do not worry anymore. Chen is a capable man with loyalty and integrity. If I truly pass on, he will take good care of you and run the Feng group well. So now I can leave in peace. Zhao, hurry up. Bring the sharpest one. Yes, sir. Fine, I will go. I will go be a corporate slave, all right? I am getting such a raw deal. I have to work during the day, then work overtime at night. Sooner or later, it will kill me. So, Feng Wanning resigned herself to following Grandpa Feng to the company. You will start at the bottom. Plan on doing that for 2 or 3 years. Spend several months in every department. If a manager does not understand the ground level work, the people below can easily fool them. When Grandpa Feng and Feng Wanning got off work, the butler came rushing out as soon as they arrived home. Sir, Miss, you are finally back. Mr. Zhang. What happened to him? Mr. Zhang has gone on a business trip. He asked me to let you know. You scared me half to death. Grandpa Feng frowned and glared at Feng Wanning. She was completely baffled. Why are you glaring at me like that? Why am I glaring at you? Do you not know perfectly well? If I knew, I would not be asking. Tell me honestly, did you perform badly last night? What do you mean, I performed badly? What else could I mean? I mean in bed, of course. Who says so? Who needs to say it? Is it not obvious? If you had really done well, would Chen have gone on a business trip? He went on a business trip because he was busy with work. What does that have to do with my performance? Why did Chen not leave earlier? Or later? Why leave right after your wedding night? Obviously, you did poorly, so he is avoiding you. If you had done well, would Chen really leave his new bride behind for a business trip? You have experienced intimacy between a man and a woman now. Search your heart. Could you bear to leave Chen behind for a business trip now? Feng Wanning was stumped. I really could not bear to. I had no feelings for that man. But I had to admit that I had been very happy last night. Chen had gone on this trip to avoid doing that with me. Seeing Feng Wanning so confused, Grandpa Feng was thoroughly satisfied. She needed to be taken down a peg, or she would really think herself irresistible. I did not return from my business trip until 7 days later. When she saw me suddenly return, Feng Wanning froze for a moment. Grandpa Feng was delighted to see me back, and happily asked about my trip. Did your trip go smoothly? Yes, everything went smoothly, I answered while eating. Feng Wanning ate in sullen silence, while Grandpa Feng and I were deep in conversation. Feng Wanning finished eating. She set down her chopsticks, stood up, and left without a word. You left on a business trip for an entire week. Wanning is a little upset. Try to comfort her. Why would she be upset that I was away? Should she not be happy? All right, I understand. Grandpa wanted me to comfort her, so I would comfort her. After eating, I returned to our room. Feng Wanning was on the sofa, scrolling through her phone. I said nothing, and went to take a shower. Feng Wanning had expected me to speak to her. He left for 7 days without a word, and now he has nothing to say to me. It might be a loveless marriage between wealthy families, but this was far too cold and loveless. It was truly disheartening. After my shower, I came out wearing only a pair of sleep pants. Hearing the sound, Feng Wanning looked up and saw me. Want to sleep? What did that mean? What kind of sleep? Just sleeping? Or sleeping like we did on our wedding night? Her face flushed, and for a moment, She did not know how to answer. You do not want to. Why should I be shy about sleeping with my own husband? Why would I not? Of course I do. Do not misunderstand. I am not sleeping with you because I like you, or because I want to. It is because Grandpa wants a great-grandchild. What was she even saying? When had I ever treated her like a baby-making tool? I know. You are ovulating today. He even knows that. He isn't even angry about treating me like a baby-making tool. His temper is far too good. Seeing her expression shift, I asked, "What is it?" Feng Wanning seemed to snap back to her senses. She shook her head. No, it is nothing. Let's go to sleep. Once they lay in bed, Feng Wanning felt a little nervous. Chen had taken the lead on their wedding night, but was she supposed to make the first move now? It was not as though she could not do it, but she was shy. Besides, how was she meant to begin? Should she hug him first, or kiss him? I lay in bed and waited for a while. She must be feeling shy. I was shy too. Fine. For the ultimate goal, it seemed I would have to take the lead tonight. I had wanted to say something, but we barely knew each other, and I did not know what to say. So I said nothing at all, lowered my head, and kissed her. After working for a few days, Feng Wanning had developed a fairly regular body clock. The next day, when I woke up, she woke up as well. They looked at each other, then got up separately to wash up. Afterward, they went downstairs for breakfast. Grandpa Feng looked at the refreshed, utterly satisfied-looking Feng Wanning, and curled his lip. HMPH. This girl had looked resentful for days. But the moment her husband came back last night, the smugness and satisfaction on her face became impossible to hide. Who was it that did not want this arranged marriage before? That came back to bite her quickly. If I did not need to save her face in front of her husband, I would be mocking her right now. After breakfast, the three of them went to work. Feng Wanning and Grandpa Feng headed to the company. In the car, Grandpa Feng asked Feng Wanning, "Did Chen comfort you last night?" Feng Wanning's face instantly turned red. She glanced at Grandpa Feng and said, "Why would he comfort me? I am not a child." Grandpa Feng was slightly surprised. "He did not? Chen clearly promised me he would comfort you." "You told him to comfort me?" "Yes." "Grandpa, what did you tell him?" "What do you mean? What did I say?" "I told him directly. I said he had been away for a week, that you missed him, and that you were in a bad mood, so he should cheer you up." At that moment, the spoiled young heiress of the Feng family felt as if her world had come crashing down. "Grandpa, how could you talk such nonsense? When did I ever say I missed him? I am completely humiliated." "Grandpa, you are driving me crazy. You did not miss him. Then why did you pout every day this past week, as if someone owed you billions and never paid you back? What was that about then?" Feng Wanning blushed, clenched her teeth, and stubbornly refused to admit it. HMPH, so what? Are you angry? Have you gone silent? Feng Wanning turned to look out the window, completely unwilling to speak anymore. At noon, I met with the company's top star, Shi Yuyu, for lunch. I wanted to discuss livestream sales with her. She shot to fame 3 years ago through a campus drama. In recent years, she had made the company a great deal of money. I also knew that, given her status, regular livestream sales would diminish her image. I only intended for her to make occasional appearances, to draw attention to the company's other artists, and promote the Zhang group along the way. It was my first time meeting her in person. Her long white hair was boldly striking. She looked difficult to get along with at first glance. After brief pleasantries, I explained my purpose while we ate, discussed the specific details and arrangements with my agent. I paused in surprise. Everyone said Shi Yuyu had a bad temper. She was difficult to deal with, though she had never done anything outrageous. She was proud and aloof. She could turn cold without warning. The company often had to clean up after her. Many collaborations have fallen through because of her temper. I thought I would have to work hard to persuade her today. To my surprise, she agreed without hesitation. Perhaps she was not as difficult as the rumors claimed. "All right. This is the restaurant's signature dish. Try it." I looked at Shi Yuyu, finding her a little strange. Was she trying to win me over? But she did not seem like that kind of person. Shi Yuyu said nothing. She lowered her eyes and ate. Her cheeks were faintly flushed, but I did not notice. After the two finished their meal, They left the private dining room. Chen, you are eating here too? I glanced at Feng Wanning. She was staring coldly at Shi Yuayu. Sensing my gaze, she shot me an adorably reproachful look. With a huff, she walked away. I had no idea what I had done to upset her this time. Her moods really did change in an instant. After exchanging a few words, we went our separate ways. As we were leaving, Shi Yuayu asked me, "Are you close with Grandpa Feng?" I nodded and smiled. "Feng Wanning and I are married." Shi Yuayu froze for a moment. She stared at me in stunned disbelief. "What? Is that so surprising?" Shi Yuayu finally came back to herself and looked at me. Her expression grew increasingly distant. "Has the Jiang group run into trouble? Otherwise, why would you marry a woman with so much bad press? A reckless, spoiled heiress?" "No, do not worry. The Jiang group is doing very well and is stable." "Then why did you marry her?" I had thought Shi Yuayu was worried about the Jiang group's situation. But apparently, that was not it. Because I like her, of course. It is only natural for a husband to like his wife. No one could find fault with that answer. Shi Yuayu's face went cold, and she said no more. For the rest of our time together, she did not say another word. After work, Bai Yi and the others invited Feng Wanning out. Feng Wanning went to meet them, then found herself a seat. She happened to sit beside Jiang Jiang. Jiang Jiang tilted her head and whispered in her ear, "Why are you here? Did my brother not just get back from his business trip?" Feng Wanning gave Jiang Jiang a cold look. She huffed and said, "He would be better off not coming back." The moment he got back, he was with some shady woman. Just seeing it irritates me. He may as well have stayed away on business. Out of sight, out of mind. Confused by her attitude, Jiang Jiang asked, "Why are you being so sarcastic?" "None of your business. You are meddling too much. Do you have nothing better to do? Besides, when you were in school, did your teachers never teach you to respect your elders and care for the young? Is this how you speak to an elder?" Jiang Jiang paused. "An elder? I am your sister-in-law. Does that not make me your elder?" Jiang Jiang was left speechless. She was about to argue back, when Liu Ryan spoke up. "What are you two whispering about over there?" The others also studied them with suspicious, probing looks. The two of them had both seemed off lately. Whenever they met, they would huddle together and whisper. It was as if they were hiding something from everyone. Jiang Jiang was about to speak, but Feng Wanning straightened her back and said, "I am teaching her a lesson." The others found that amusing. They asked with a laugh, "How are you teaching her?" "HMPH, I am teaching her to respect her elders." "And which elder are you telling her to respect? Does she have an elder here?" "HMPH, me, of course. I am her elder." "What kind of elder are you to her? How dare you take advantage of Jiang Jiang?" "How? I am her sister-in-law." "Jiang Jiang, she is taking such advantage of you. Why have you not hit her?" Everyone knows Jiang Jiang is obsessed with her brother. All she ever talks about is how amazing her brother is. Feng Wanning dared to take advantage of Jiang Jiang's brother. She is finished. They were waiting for Jiang Jiang to lose her temper. But Jiang Jiang sat there without moving. Her expression was not pleasant, but the smiles on Liu Ryan and the others slowly froze. Feng Wanning tipped up her chin slightly, looking at them smugly. "If Jiang Jiang dares hit me, I will go home and tell Jiang Chen." A junior striking her elder? What outrageous behavior. No way. This cannot be real, can it? Liu Ryan looked at Jiang Jiang and Feng Wanning in disbelief. Jiang Jiang had never been one to swallow her anger. Her silence could mean only one thing. Feng Wanning was telling the truth. She really was Jiang Jiang's sister-in-law. How could you be with brother Jiang Chen? He is an ambitious, driven man. And you are a spoiled rich heiress who just coasts through life. How could you two possibly be together? Let me correct you. We are not merely together. We are already married. Everyone froze. They stared at Feng Wanning in shock and disbelief. Only after a long while did they recover. What is going on? Brother Jiang Chen got married just like that. If Feng Wanning is good enough, why are we not? We could be, too. There is nothing more to it. It was simply a business marriage arranged by our families. Liu Ryan said angrily to Jiang Jiang. If Feng Wanning can do it, why can I not? Me too. I can, too. The The girls had always put me on a pedestal as the perfect older brother figure. They had never considered marrying me before. But after thinking it over, they would have to enter arranged marriages sooner or later anyway. Brother Jiang Chen was mature and gracious, a capable gentleman, and we shared the bond of growing up together, rather than marrying someone unfamiliar later. Some rich heir they did not know or understand. They would rather marry Brother Jiang Chen. Brother Jiang Chen had always looked after us growing up. He had always been good to us. If we really married him, Brother Jiang Chen would surely be just as he was when we were children, taking care of us and treating us well. I am helpless too. I had not heard a single word about it before. If I had known earlier, do you think I would have let them get married? Had I known earlier, I would have done everything I could to stop it. I never would have let this girl ruin my brother's life. Feng Wanning truly was not good enough for Brother Jiang Chen. Feng Wanning looked at them, both smug and aggrieved. I married the man they all wanted to marry. But was I really as terrible as they made me out to be? I could accept Jiang Jiang thinking I was not worthy of her brother. Jiang Jiang was obsessed with her brother, after all. She thought he was the best man in the world. But Liu Ryan and the others? What gave them the right to think I was not good enough for a Chen? I, Feng Wanning, am an heiress. I have both character and beauty. Countless heirs pursue and admire me. Am I really that bad? They are making me lose confidence in myself. What are you so smug about? It is only a loveless arranged marriage. I would want that kind of loveless arranged marriage too. I had never considered marrying a man older than me. But if that man were Brother Chen, I really could. What do you know? Do you really think this is just a loveless business marriage? If it were truly a loveless arranged marriage, one based solely on profit, why would he not marry another wealthy heiress? Are there not women in our circle with richer families than mine, who are also closer to his age and ability? A man like Jiang Chen, what kind of marriage partner couldn't he find? Why choose me, of all people? Because he likes me, obviously. Feng Wanning lifted her chin smugly. In her view, I was only after her youth and beauty. Everyone felt as if their world had collapsed. In their hearts, Brother Jiang Chen was the perfect man, and he actually liked a young brat like Feng Wanning. Jiang Jiang said nothing, her face cold. Feng Wanning had a point. If my brother truly wanted a marriage partner, he could choose from any heiress in Sea City. I am not bragging. My brother is highly capable, mature, and steady. Since childhood, he had been the child every parent compared their own to. It is only because he has been overseas these past years, and rarely returned home. Otherwise, people would have worn down our doorstep. He passed over so many suitable women, yet chose Feng Wanning. They are completely different people. If that is not love, what is? But when did my brother fall for Feng Wanning? My brother has spent most of these years abroad, rarely coming home. Even when he did return, his visits were brief. Had he happened to see Feng Wanning once and fallen in love at first sight? Jiang Jiang glanced at Feng Wanning. The only thing Feng Wanning truly had to offer my brother was that pretty face of hers. The other three girls drowned their grief and outrage in alcohol. They desperately plied Feng Wanning with drinks. Bai Yi could not stop them. Jiang Jiang watched coldly from the side. She did not help pour the drinks, but she did not stop them either. If my position allowed it, I would have been forcing drinks on you myself. At 10 o'clock, Feng Wanning was finally forced into a drunken stupor. Liu Ryan said to Jiang Jiang, "Have Brother Jiang Chen come pick her up. Brother Jiang Chen does not like us drinking, let alone Feng Wanning getting drunk. Let him see Feng Wanning now, slumped on the sofa like a pile of mud. Where is her usual heiress's poise now?" With that, Jiang Jiang actually called me. She asked me to pick up Feng Wanning. I found the private room. The moment I opened the door, I saw Feng Wanning sprawled on the sofa. Everyone else was doing their own thing. They did not care about her at all. What wonderful friends they were. When the others saw me arrive, they froze for a moment. Liu Ryan and the others had not seen me in a long time. They thought I seemed even more attractive than before. Feng Wanning, that young brat, truly did not deserve me. It was Bai Yi's first time seeing me. She had only heard about me from Jiang Jiang before. She had not expected me to be so captivating in person. Bai Yi's heart began to race. I stood quietly in the doorway, my gaze sweeping over them. Jiang Jiang greeted me. Brother Jiang Chen. I walked over to Feng Wanning. Looking at Jiang, I asked, "Did you force her to drink?" Feng Wanning could not have gotten blackout drunk on her own. "While all of you are fine." Guilt flickered across their faces. No. Jiang truly had not forced Feng Wanning to drink. She simply had not stopped the others from doing it. The others said nothing, especially Liu Ryan and Shi Yuayo. Their eyes darted about. They looked awkward. They looked everywhere, except at me. I understood at once. I did not press further. I sat beside Feng Wanning. "Wanning, I am here to take you home." Feng Wanning did not move, nor did she speak. She was completely passed out. "Let's go home." I lifted her into my arms. After saying goodbye to Jiang, Liu Ryan, and the others, I left. Liu Ryan frowned. Brother Zhang Chen really likes Feng Wanning. Feng Wanning drank herself into this state. Yet Brother Zhang Chen was not angry. He even came to pick her up himself. What else could that be but love? Jiang said nothing. Love. But my brother did not seem to feel that way. Though he came for Feng Wanning himself, and his voice was gentle. But I saw no concern or heartache in my brother's eyes. If my brother truly loved Feng Wanning, seeing her this drunk would have left him worried, sick, and heartbroken. But my brother showed neither. Many years ago, I saw what my brother looked like when he truly loved someone, so I could easily tell the difference. There must be another reason he married her. Could our family's business really be in trouble? Was that why my brother sought the Feng family's help and sacrificed his own happiness? I cannot keep drifting through life like this. I brought Feng Wanning home. I had the maids help Feng Wanning back to her room, then told them to make hangover soup. Old Master Feng was furious when he saw her. She is utterly hopeless. I found her such a handsome, considerate husband. But instead of staying home with him, she went out carousing with a group of women and drank herself into this disgraceful state. I've been wise all my life. How did I end up with such a disappointing granddaughter? Why did you go pick her up? You should have let her drink herself to death out there. Grandfather Wanning was out with friends. She is newly married, so her friends urged her to have a few extra drinks. That is perfectly normal. Old Master Feng frowned. I know you are worried about Wanning's health, grandfather. Do not worry. Once Wanning wakes up tomorrow, I will persuade her to drink less from now on, so the family will not worry. Old Master Feng looked at me. The husband I chose for Wanning is truly wonderful. He is mature and gentle, thoughtful and caring. I hope Wanning knows how to cherish him. She must not act recklessly and throw away my good intentions. Old Master Feng left. I had the maids take Feng Wanning to the bathroom for a bath. After the maids bathed her, they put her to bed. Looking at the still unconscious Feng Wanning, I did not insist that she drink the hangover soup. Fortunately, Feng Wanning was drunk. Otherwise, tonight would have meant another intense workout. At least I could get a good night's sleep. Feng Wanning woke the next morning, her head splitting with pain. Clutching her head, she looked around. So someone had brought her home. How did I get back? Did Jiang and Liu Ryan bring me home? Impossible. They would not be that kind. Last night, they practically wanted to drink me to death. Jiang watched coldly from the side. Not stopping them was the same as encouraging them. So it definitely was not them. Then who was it? I could not have walked home by myself. Could I? She reached toward the bedside. I drank so much last night. Yet I do not even smell of alcohol. Someone bathed me. Feng Wanning turned to look beside her. The moment she looked over. Morning. Feng Wanning thought of last night. Maybe Jiang Chen had bathed me last night. Her cheeks instantly flushed red. I asked her with concern. Do you feel unwell anywhere? Feng Wanning lightly bit her lip and said nothing. I asked again. Does your head hurt? This time, Feng Wanning nodded. MMHMM. There is hangover soup in the kitchen. I will have them bring it up. Last night, I guessed that when Feng Wanning woke up this morning, her head might hurt. So I told the kitchen to have hangover soup ready. That way, Feng Wanning could drink it as soon as she woke up. The hangover soup was not important. What mattered was who had bathed me last night. Should I just ask if Jiang Chen bathed me last night? Would that be too intimate? How did I get home last night? Jiang called me and said you had too much to drink. So I came to get you. I did not make a drunken fool of myself last night, did I? I have never drunk that much before. I just blacked out. I wonder whether I behave well when I am drunk. But what if Jiang Chen says I made a scene last night? How could I ever face Jiang Chen then? Feng Wanning chose to keep quiet. After finishing the hangover soup, Feng Wanning came downstairs with me for breakfast. After breakfast, I went upstairs to change and get ready for work. Feng Wanning pulled the butler aside to whisper to him, "Uncle Zhao, I did not make a drunken scene last night, did I?" "Not at all. You were very well behaved last night, miss." "Well behaved?" "Ever since I was 5 or 6, no one has ever used that word to describe me." Butler Zhao nodded with a smile. "Your husband brought you home." "Miss, you were in your husband's arms then. So quiet and well behaved. You look so vulnerable." "Stop, Butler Zhao. Do not say another word. Vulnerable? Is that really a word to describe me?" Butler Zhao grumbled inwardly. "When she is happy, it is Uncle Zhao. When she is unhappy, it is Butler Zhao." Miss changes her attitude fast. Feng Wanning glared at Butler Zhao. "Butler Zhao, can you be a little more truthful? Calling me vulnerable is such an exaggeration." Butler Zhao said with a smile. "What is wrong with that? You are his wife. Is it wrong for him to feel protective of you?" Feng Wanning's cheeks reddened. She glared at him. Butler Zhao has become so cheesy. How can he say things like that? "Stop talking nonsense." Butler Zhao hurriedly protested. "How am I talking nonsense? You have no idea, miss. When your husband heard you were drunk last night, he was so worried. He rushed out to bring you home. Then he immediately had the kitchen make you some hangover soup. Wait a minute. Then last night, who bathed me?" "Of course, it was your husband." "I mean, did my husband bathe me himself?" Feng Wanning's face instantly turned scarlet. It really was him. "Then, does that mean he saw and touched my entire body?" She was about to say something, but then Butler Zhao continued. "He had one of the household maids bathe you." Can he not finish a sentence all at once? Who taught him to pause like that? He nearly gave me a heart attack. Drink less from now on. It is bad for your health. Do you know why I drank so much last night? Why? Liu Ryan and Shi Youayu kept forcing drinks on me. And Jiang Jiang did not even help me. I smiled and asked her, "Why were they forcing you to drink?" Feng Wanning looked at me. He really does not know. She said nothing. Seeing her expression, I chuckled. "All right. They will not force you to drink again." Feng Wanning looked utterly confused. I did not explain. "Come on. It is time for work." Feng Wanning's face fell. I must have done terrible things in a past life, to be stuck waking early and working like a mule in this one. When I arrived at the office, I thought about what Feng Wanning had just said. Why had Liu Ryan and the others forced Feng Wanning to drink last night? I had a pretty good idea. Feng Wanning's remark that Jiang Jiang had not helped her was enough to tell me Jiang Jiang had been behind it. I called Jiang Jiang and told her to come to the office. "Brother, what did you want to see me about? You do not like having Feng Wanning as your sister-in-law? Should I find you a different one?" Jiang Jiang asked, "Can you?" I gave her a faint smile, but it did not reach my eyes. "What do you think?" Jiang Jiang shuddered. "No need. Feng Wanning is great." I kept smiling and continued, "Since you think she is great, you should learn from her." "Learn what from her?" I looked at her and gave a cold laugh. "Learn what?" "Learn to eat, drink, and play like she does. To be spoiled and overbearing? You have had enough fun since graduating. Starting tomorrow, you are coming to work at the company." Jiang Jiang looked at me in panic, as if the sky were falling. "Sooner or later, you will have to learn how to run the company." "Brother, I think the company is doing just fine in your hands. I do not have any grand ambitions. I just want to coast through life as a spoiled rich kid. I have never thought that I had to inherit the family business. You can have the company and the family fortune, brother. Just give me some spending money every month, and that will be enough." "That is what you think. What do you want to learn from Feng Wanning?" "No." Only then did I smile sincerely and praise her. "Jiang Jiang, you are such a good girl." "Why are you praising me like that, brother? I am not a child anymore." "Still, it makes me so happy to be praised by you." Jiang Jiang happily left the office. After seeing Jiang Jiang off, I messaged Liu Ryan's and Shi Youai's parents for a chat. I politely asked how the elders have been doing, then casually brought up Jiang Jiang starting work at the company. The elders from both families remarked, Jiang Jiang has finally grown up. Liu Ryan and Shi Youai had grown up alongside her. Of course, if Jiang Jiang was going to work, they had to go too. My thinking was simple. Once all of them were working, they would not have so much energy or time to think of ways to torment Feng Wanning. The elders from both families immediately informed Liu Ryan and Shi Youai. The two protested, but their parents brutally shut them down. Your dear friends Wanning and Jiang Jiang are both going to work. Are you not such good friends? You share the good times, so you should share the hard times too. Feng Wanning is one thing. She is the Feng family's only heir. She was always going to have to work. But Jiang Jiang was happily living the high life. Why would she suddenly decide to go to work? The two of them asked Jiang Jiang in the group chat. Jiang Jiang, why would you suddenly lose your mind and go to work? Shi Youai chimed in. You are not trying to fight Jiang Chen for the family fortune, are you? What? You actually have the nerve to entertain such a rebellious, suicidal idea? With that blockhead of yours, how could you possibly beat Jiang Chen? Anyway, if you fight Jiang Chen for the inheritance, the two of us will not help you. Oh, right? We will help Jiang Chen. The two of them talked over each other, playing off one another perfectly. Jiang Jiang heard her phone chime. The messages made her vision go dark. What kind of fake friends are these? I did not even say anything, and they have already made up an entire drama. When did I ever say I wanted to fight my brother for the inheritance? I still want to live a few more years. Another message from Shi Youai came in. Do not worry, Jiang Jiang. If Jiang Chen kills you, we will collect your body. After all these years as siblings, it is the only thing we can do for you. Well, thank you so very much. Feng Wanning finally popped into the chat. The way you talk about Jiang Chen makes him sound terrifying. Liu Ryan immediately defended Jiang Chen. How could he be? Brother Jiang Chen is the gentlest, most handsome man in the world. Wanning, you must protect yourself. Feng Wanning was baffled. Why should I be afraid of him? HMPH. What? Could he really eat me? Everyone else in the group sent a string of ellipses. Feng Wanning was even more confused. What are you all doing? Why are you sending those symbols? The group chat fell silent for a moment. Finally, Liu Ryan could not resist speaking first. Wanning, has he eaten you? Feng Wanning stared at the message. Eaten what? I had breakfast. I have not had lunch yet. What, do you want to take me to lunch? Let me tell you something. I have a job now. I am extremely busy every day. If you want to ask me to lunch, you need to make an appointment in advance. The others sent another string of ellipses. Feng Wanning was completely lost. What is wrong with all of you? Liu Ryan, you tell me. Liu Ryan was speechless. I was asking whether brother Jiang Chen has slept with you. This time, Feng Wanning sent ellipses to the group. After sending them, she fell silent. Her face turned completely red. Why do these people have no sense of boundaries? How can they dare to ask anything? The private matters between my husband and me. Are those really things they should ask about? Bai Yi pressed on. What does that mean? Did he sleep with you or not? Feng Wanning was furious. What business is it of yours? Do you live by the ocean or something? Why are you so nosy? Oh, I was only asking. Why are you getting so worked up? Looks like he is not then. And how did you know my family has a villa by the sea? Bai Yi thought of the man she had met last night. A top-tier heartthrob like Jiang Chen. I was practically drooling over him last night. If Feng Wanning had not gotten to him first, I would definitely have gone over to flirt with him, asked for his contact information, and tried to seduce him while I was at it. Knowing Feng Wanning's personality, if she had slept with him, how could she react like this? Nothing has probably happened between them yet. Still, that is normal. Arranged marriages between families do not begin with love. Plenty of couples take time to adjust and get familiar before becoming intimate. Feng Wanning was likely one of them too. In their circle, many couples enter contract marriages for their family's interest, acting like a loving pair in public, when they have not even kissed at home. Seeing that Feng Wanning did not deny it, Jiang Jiang frowned. They are married, yet they still have not been intimate. It definitely could not be her brother's problem. It had to be Feng Wanning's problem. Feng Wanning resented the arrangement, but old Master Feng had pressured her into the marriage. Yet she still refused to sleep with brother Jiang Chen. That was a tremendous insult. That bastard, Feng Wanning, actually dared to humiliate my brother like this. Jiang wanted to stand up for her brother, but I cannot exactly force Feng Wanning to do that kind of thing with my own brother. That would be so humiliating. Jiang thought for a long time, until she came up with a plan. She texted me, asking me to dinner that evening. I agreed. After work that evening, I went straight to the restaurant Jiang had booked. I thought it would only be Jiang and me, but there were others there as well. Li Yunshu, the eldest daughter of the Li family. She was an old classmate of mine. We had been classmates from elementary school through high school, and we got along quite well. I walked over and took a seat. Li Yunshu greeted me with a smile. Jiang Chen, it has been so long. I smiled in reply. Yes, it has been a long time. Have you been well? The food arrived, and we talked as we ate. Li Yunshu and I had both entered the working world, whether it was our school days or the business world. We had plenty to talk about. The atmosphere was wonderful. Watching Li Yunshu and me chat so happily, Jiang took out her phone and snapped photos. Hearing the camera shutter, I glanced at her. I am taking selfies. So I did not pay her any mind, and continued talking with Li Yunshu. Jiang browsed through the photos, picked two, and posted them on her social feed. The caption read, "Dinner with my brother." She added a happy emoji, though the caption said she was dining with her brother. The photos showed Li Yunshu and me talking. In them, I looked at the elegant, radiant Li Yunshu. With a faint smile, Li Yunshu gazed back at me, her eyes full of laughter. Anyone unaware of the situation would think we were a couple, visible to one person only. Jiang made the post, visible only to Feng Wanning. Look how I have won one back from my brother. I will make Feng Wanning understand that my brother has countless admirers. Who does Feng Wanning think she is? HMPH. I need to give Feng Wanning a sense of crisis. Feng Wanning returned home after work. Butler Zhao told her I had a business dinner that evening and would not be home for dinner. Feng Wanning felt helpless. Was he really that busy? They had only been married a few days. First, he went on a business trip, and now he had business dinners at night, keeping him from home. Even Grandpa, the corporation's president, was not as busy as he was. Grandpa also had a business dinner that night, so I was alone at home today. Feng Wanning sat on the sofa, playing on her phone as she waited for dinner. Bored, she scrolled through her social feed, until she saw Jiang's post. She had been slouched carelessly on the sofa, but instantly sat upright. I know Li Yunshu, but we are not close. We hardly ever cross paths. After all, our families are in different industries. Still, we both move in elite circles. So, we have met privately before, and exchanged greetings from a distance. Looking at these pictures, the two of them seemed close. Having dinner with a young woman. Was this the business dinner he mentioned? Feng Wanning arched a delicate brow. For no reason, she felt as though she had been cheated on. She sent Jiang a message. Are you having dinner with your brother? Jiang saw Feng Wanning's message. The fish had taken the bait. Jiang replied, yes. Feng Wanning asked again, and Li Yunshu? Jiang sent another one-word reply, yes. Feng Wanning stared at Jiang's two replies. Her expression darkened further. What was with those replies? Was that all she could say? Could she not say a little more? She could only keep asking, does your brother know Li Yunshu? Of course, my brother and Li Yunshu were classmates from elementary school through high school. When he ran into his old classmate, Li Yunshu, my brother was delighted. But do not misunderstand. My brother and Li Yunshu are only classmates. Although there were dating rumors about them in school, that was all long ago. Feng Wanning latched onto one word, rumors. Jiang replied quickly. Back then, everyone at school said they were the perfect couple, made for each other. But that was many years ago. Feng Wanning looked displeased. She opened the photos again. The handsome man and beautiful woman were gazing at each other, smiling warmly. The atmosphere was truly lovely. They really did look perfect together. When Jiang saw Feng Wanning stop replying, she felt smug. Feng Wanning must be angry. Li Yunshu and I had a wonderful time talking. After dinner, she invited other classmates to join us. After graduating high school, I went abroad. I had been overseas ever since, and had not kept in touch with many classmates back home. Meanwhile, Li Yunshu had stayed in China for school and her career, and stayed close with our old classmates. When they arrived, they saw that I was there too, and were all delighted. They were also curious about my life after graduation. They gathered around me, asking about my career and love life over the years. I answered with a smile. While I was abroad, I managed my family's overseas operations. Now that I am back, I am managing our family's entertainment company. Also, I am married. We have already registered our marriage. The wedding is being planned. The classmates froze at that. They stared at me in surprise. You are married? The classmates exchanged subtle looks. Jiang Chen and Li Yunshu were both attractive, from excellent families and top students. Everyone once thought they would end up together. When Li Yunshu heard that I was married, she looked at me in surprise, her grip tightening around her glass. Who did you marry? I said with a smile. My wife is a Feng Wanning. That name sounds familiar. Li Yunshu immediately realized who she was. Feng Wanning, the Feng family's heiress. I smiled and explained. She is the heiress to Wanfan Hotels. They gasped. Wanfan Hotels? That internationally renowned 5-star hotel chain? Their properties span the globe. They never expected Jiang Chen to marry Feng Wanning. But then again, though the Jiang family was not quite the Feng family's equal, they were not far behind. It was a well-matched union. The classmates all congratulated me. I accepted their congratulations with a smile, and invited them to the wedding. The gathering did not break up until 11 that night. Since I had work the next day, I was among the first to leave. Li Yunshu walked me to the entrance. I had been drinking and could not drive, so I waited outside for a designated driver. In the end, she could not hold it in any longer. She asked me, "Why did you suddenly marry Feng Wanning?" She could not understand it. I have always been in Sea City. The Feng and Jiang families are both among the most prominent families in our circle. Their every move draws attention. I never heard a word about the two families joining through marriage. It was so sudden. I thought Jiang Chen did not even have a girlfriend. I gave my usual perfunctory explanation. Because I like her. Like her? Neither of us spoke again. Soon, my designated driver arrived. I said goodbye to her and left. I got home at midnight. When I returned to my room, Feng Wanning was still on the sofa, looking at her phone. So I asked her, "Why are you still awake?" Feng Wanning looked at me without speaking. Her eyes traveled over me. My hair was not mussed. My clothes were in order. There were no suspicious marks on my neck, either. Waiting for me. Feng Wanning's face instantly flushed. Flustered and angry, she snapped in a soft voice. "Who is waiting for you?" I was just on my phone. I smiled and pressed on. "On your phone while waiting for me." I told you. I was not waiting for you. I will try to get home earlier from now on. So, you will not have to wait up till late. Could Jiang Chen not take a hint? I said I was not waiting for him. I was not waiting. I was not waiting. Could he stop flattering himself? He was making me look like some resentful wife waiting desperately for her husband to come home. Feng Wanning was about to say something, to salvage some dignity, but I went into the bathroom to wash up. Feng Wanning was speechless, choked with frustration. Forget it, she would argue with him after he came out. I really was just on my phone. After washing up, I went straight to bed. I was exhausted after working all day. That night, I had forced myself to chat and drink with my classmates. Now, I was truly exhausted. All I wanted was to sleep. Feng Wanning was looking for a chance to explain herself. But then she saw me close my eyes. She could not help feeling annoyed. He is going to sleep already. Does he not want to say even one word to me? Sensing her little sulk, I unconsciously curled my lips into a smile. I reached out and pulled her into my arms. How could she still be upset? All that remained was bashful sweetness. A passionate night followed. Much of Feng Wanning's anger melted away. The next day arrived. On her first day at work, Jiang came to my office. She had come to find out what had happened. Seeing how worn out I looked, Jiang thought, did he not sleep well last night? Or did Feng Wanning see my social media post and fight with my brother? She asked with concern. Brother, why do you look so exhausted? I replied flatly. I did not sleep well last night. I went to bed after 3 in the morning and got up at 7. How could I possibly feel rested? Jiang froze for a moment. Was it because he fought with Feng Wanning and could not sleep? Or because they had done something that kept him awake? But she looked him over again and again, and found no suspicious signs at all. So nothing had happened between them after all. How could Feng Wanning stay so calm? Did she not have any sense of urgency? It was not that Jiang thought Feng Wanning was so wonderful. She just thought her brother was so exceptional. They were already married. Yet Feng Wanning would not let him touch her. How miserable her brother must feel. Damn Feng Wanning. At that thought, Jiang could not endure it another second. She turned and stormed out. Jiang, what is wrong? She did not answer me. She drove straight from the parking lot to Feng Group headquarters. But in the lobby, she did not know which floor Feng Wanning's office was on. So she called Feng Wanning directly. The moment the call connected, Jiang said angrily, Feng Wanning, I am in your company's first floor lobby. Get your ass down here right now. Without waiting for Feng Wanning to respond, Jiang hung up. Feng Wanning stared at the disconnected call, completely bewildered. She went down to the first floor and found Jiang standing there furiously. She walked over and asked, Jiang, what is wrong? Jiang glared at Feng Wanning through gritted teeth. Feng Wanning, how could you do this? Feng Wanning was caught off guard and fell to the floor. A flash of anger crossed her eyes. Jiang, what the hell is wrong with you? Someone helped Feng Wanning to her feet. This was the first time anyone had dared push me. If Jiang were not my longtime friend and my sister-in-law, I would have had her thrown out already. Feng Wanning swallowed her anger and pressed on. What exactly is wrong with you? What did I do to you? Jiang snapped. Feng Wanning, you bastard. What did you do to my brother? Do you really not know? Feng Wanning was even more confused. What did I do to your brother? I did not do anything. I only did what a married couple should do. Though Akin really was reluctant last night, I was pretty forceful. Had Akin told Jiang about it? Was that why Jiang had come to confront her? Feng Wanning felt a little guilty. She really had been in the wrong. Feng Wanning gave a guilty cough. What do you want from me? I did not mean to do it last night. I was angry and lost control for a moment. What do I want? I want to kill you. My brother is a golden child in my eyes. No one is allowed to hurt him. Feng Wanning froze. Was my crime really that grave? Jiang stared at Feng Wanning, teeth clenched. She truly wanted to rush over and beat her up. But seeing Feng Wanning's baffled expression, she suddenly did not want to hit her. Come outside with me. She turned and walked out of Feng Group's front doors. Feeling guilty, Feng Wanning obediently followed. She followed Jiang to a secluded corner outside. Jiang glared at Feng Wanning. Go on, then. When are you planning to divorce my brother? Feng Wanning froze. She looked at Jiang in surprise. Divorce? Jiang said impatiently. If you are not divorcing him, do you plan to string my brother along for the rest of his life? Feng Wanning looked utterly confused. You could not stand up to old Master Feng, but you cannot take it out on Akin. Feng Wanning was even more puzzled. I am not taking anything out on Akin. And what does this have to do with old Master Feng? How could it have nothing to do with old Master Feng? Old Master Feng forced you to marry Akin. I know you did not want it. Treating Akin like this now is your way of getting back at old Master Feng. Feng Wanning cut Jiang off. What are you talking about? What does what I did have to do with my grandfather? And I am not getting back at him. What happened last night was indeed my fault. This time, Jiang was confused. What happened last night? But it was not entirely my fault. Was I the only one at fault? Was your brother completely blameless? What did my brother do wrong? Feng Wanning spoke with a trace of grievance. Your brother is a married man. Yet he stayed out with a female classmate late at night. Is that not wrong? Jiang calmed down. She realized that she and Feng Wanning were not talking about the same thing at all. So, you and Akin fought over Yunshu last night. Is that what your brother told you? My brother did not say anything. Feng Wanning was speechless. Then why did you lose your temper today? After thinking for a moment, Jiang said, Divorce my brother. Feng Wanning was even more speechless. Is that something you or I get to decide? If I had a say, I would never have married your brother. Besides, I am not a woman who treats marriage like a game. Jiang gave a cold snort. You make it sound like you are such a responsible woman. I am. Jiang was almost angered into laughter by her shamelessness. Feng Wanning continued. Jiang, I do not understand. What exactly did I do that makes you insist I divorce your brother? She did not understand. When he first married me, Jiang had disapproved, but she had not objected this fiercely. Yet now, she was adamantly demanding that I divorce her brother. You know exactly what you did. The subject made Jiang furious. She glared fiercely at Feng Wanning. Feng Wanning instinctively stepped back. I did not do anything. You want me to spell it out? Since you married my Akin, you should fulfill a wife's duties and responsibilities. If you truly hate my Akin so much, you should have stood your ground and refused to marry him. But you married him, then treated my brother like a decoration. You do not even look at him or touch him. Do you know how much pain and humiliation this causes my brother as a man? Feng Wanning looked at Jiang in astonishment. Do not look at him or touch him? Yes. In that case, divorce my brother. Do not hold him back. Feng Wanning asked. Wait a minute. Who told you that I do not look at him or touch him? Let me tell you. I touch him every day. I touch him several times a night. The two exchanged a look, both feeling awkward. Feng Wanning, especially, blushed. Seeing her blush, Jiang inexplicably blushed too. Really? What do you mean, really? Do you think I am lying to you? Jiang spoke awkwardly. Then why did you not say so in the group chat? You made me misunderstand. Feng Wanning said helplessly. Did you expect me to go around bragging that I slept with your brother? Do you really think I have no class? Not exactly. My breathtakingly perfect brother had still ended up being snatched up by my spoiled, overbearing best friend. Jiang asked curiously. So, what happened between you and my brother last night? Feng Wanning suddenly felt too guilty to meet Jiang's eyes. Nothing. Tell me the truth. One look at Feng Wanning told Jiang something was wrong. Jiang questioned her with a stern expression. After hesitating, Feng Wanning said, Your brother did not want to last night. So I forced him. Her voice grew quieter and quieter. The last words were barely louder than a mosquito's buzz. At first, Jiang did not understand. What did you say? A few seconds later, it hit her. She glared at Feng Wanning through gritted teeth. Feng Wanning turned and ran. Her voice drifted back on the wind. You do not understand. It is just a little fun between spouses. That is how everyone does it these days. Jiang returned to the company, found me, and said, Brother, if Feng Wanning treats you badly, or does anything to betray you, tell me. I will beat her up. I smiled and nodded. I will tell you when the time comes. But she treats me quite well. My brother was forced, and he still says she is good to him. Could it be that I really do not understand? Is this really just married couple fun? Full of doubts, Jiang left. I thought Jiang was acting strangely today. What happened between Jiang and Feng Wanning on the first floor was reported to Old Master Feng. He guessed Feng Wanning must have done something wrong for Jiang to act that way. But Feng Wanning was the Feng family's only heir. Old Master Feng had doted on his granddaughter since childhood. No matter how much he lectured her, he could never bring himself to lay a hand on her. Old Master Feng was somewhat upset. He brought it up over dinner. I heard Jiang push you down on the first floor today, and even wanted to hit you. Feng Wanning froze and glanced up at me. I looked at Feng Wanning in surprise and asked, She pushed you down? Feng Wanning said nothing. So it was true. I continued. Why did she push you? Feng Wanning still did not answer. She felt too embarrassed to say it. Old Master Feng said, Jiang is not an unreasonable child. You must have done something wrong. Feng Wanning spoke with embarrassed irritation. Grandpa, stay out of it. This is between Jiang and me. After what I did to him last night. Even if Jiang really beat me up, I would deserve it. Old Master Feng frowned and said, Since you were in the wrong, go apologize to Jiang and your in-laws. I looked at Old Master Feng. Grandpa, I will ask Jiang what happened. Old Master Feng looked at me and said, I spoiled Wanting from a young age. She must be the one who did wrong. Do not concern yourself with her. She brought this on herself. I nodded and said no more. But I knew. Grandpa would not have brought this up without reason. He was subtly warning me. And I understood. Feng Wanning was the Feng family's only heir. Grandpa cherished her dearly. Jiang had acted too impulsively. It was only because it was Jiang. Had it been anyone else, Grandpa would have unleashed his wrath long ago. After dinner, Feng Wanning and I returned to our room. Why did Jiang lay a hand on you? Feng Wanning would not say a word. I continued. If you will not tell me, I will ask Jiang. Feng Wanning still remained silent. When I saw Feng Wanning truly would not speak, I called Jiang. The call connected. I asked directly, why did you lay a hand on Feng Wanning? Jiang froze for a moment. She gritted her teeth. Because what she did was wrong. I frowned. What did she do? Jiang said indignantly. Ask her yourself. I did. She will not tell me. HMPH. That is because she knows she is at fault and is too ashamed to say it. My voice grew more serious. So, what exactly happened? Jiang could tell from my voice that I was angry. I thought she had forced herself on you. I asked in confusion. What makes you think that? Jiang fell silent. There were some things that, even with her own brother, she was too embarrassed to say aloud. I glanced at Feng Wanning, who was fidgeting anxiously beside me. Both of them were hemming and hawing. What on earth was going on? This time, Jiang did not dare keep quiet. She muttered softly. She had it coming for forcing herself on you last night. Hearing that, even I, who never flinched in a crisis, felt my ears burn. Feng Wanning and Jiang were close enough to discuss even her married life with Jiang. Feng Wanning stared at my reddened ears, finding it quite novel. On the other end, Jiang was still indignant, going on and on. I only did it for you. If I do not teach her a lesson, she forced you once, so she will dare force you again. I just do not understand. Brother, how could you like a woman like her? If there is a next time, I really will beat her up. I walked onto the balcony and shut the glass doors. That way, Feng Wanning could not hear Jiang and me. Seeing this, Feng Wanning thought, are they guarding against me? We are married. Should we not be the closest people in the world? Why are those two guarding against me? Are they talking behind my back? Maybe I should sneak over and listen. No. I am Miss Feng. I have my pride. I glanced at Feng Wanning and said to Jiang, no matter what, you should not have laid a hand on her. Feng Wanning is the Feng family's only heir. You should know how important she is to Grandpa and the Feng family. You were too impulsive today. You shoved her in front of everyone. Jiang muttered under her breath. It is not like I actually beat her up. I was only trying to scare her. So I cannot do it in public. The next time, I will find a dark, moonless night and give her a beating with a sack over her head. She spoke too quietly, so I could not hear her. I asked, Jiang, what did you say? Jiang certainly did not dare repeat that to me. After hesitating, she said, has she ever considered that after doing something like that to you, how she is supposed to answer to Mom and Dad? I fell silent for a moment. She did not actually force me. Jiang was confused. Brother, what did you say? You did not refuse. I rubbed my brow, feeling I should not be discussing this with my own sister. Jiang, Feng Wanning and I are married. Plain hard to get. You understand? Jiang looked utterly incredulous. I do not want to understand. My brother is actually playing coy with Feng Wanning. While Jiang was silent, I changed the subject about what happened between you and Feng Wanning. Grandpa is very angry. Come apologize to him another day. Jiang was left speechless. What can I even say? I do not want to say anything. I am shutting down. I am just a clown. After ending the call with Jiang, I returned to the room. Feng Wanning was sitting on the sofa, looking at her phone. When she saw me enter, she asked, what did Jiang say? I know you and Jiang are close, but there are some things you should not tell her. Feng Wanning did not understand at first. What things? Seeing her blank expression, I said helplessly, things between a husband and wife. I did not. Only a woman with no class would share intimate details of her marriage with her friends. I asked coolly, then why does Jiang know what happened between us last night? Feng Wanning's face turned even redder. It was an accident. Believe me, I really did not tell anyone about us. I am not that kind of person. I nodded and smiled. Yes, I believe you. I noticed a faint red mark on her soft, delicate hand. She probably got it when Jiang pushed her down. Does it hurt? Feng Wanning saw the concern in my eyes. Her cheeks flushed. Her heart raced. When she did not answer, I leaned closer and gently blew on her palm. Let me blow on it, and it will not hurt anymore. Feng Wanning's heart beat even faster. Is Jiang Chen flirting with me? Help, he is so good at this. My heart is about to leap out of my chest. I looked at Feng Wanning's deeply flushed face, the corner of my lips curling up. I bent down toward her and gently kissed her dewy red lips. Then I asked, does it still hurt now? Feng Wanning stammered. It does not hurt anymore. Seeing her like this, I gave her a bright, sunny smile. Good girl. With that, I kissed her lips again, then got up to take a shower. Only then did Feng Wanning dare take deep breaths. All kinds of men had pursued me before, using every kind of trick to flirt with me. I had never been moved. My heart had remained utterly still. I even found it a little amusing. To me, their moves were cliché, cheap, and childish. But now, I was so nervous and shy that I did not know what to do. Even now, my heart was pounding wildly. Feng Wanning clutched her chest and collapsed onto the sofa. By the time I came out of the shower, Feng Wanning hardly dared meet my eyes. What is it? Does your hand hurt again? I recalled what the background reports had said. Feng Wanning was supposedly a spoiled, arrogant, overbearing heiress. But after spending these past few days with her, I found her unexpectedly innocent and easily embarrassed. Feng Wanning thought, her face burning. Why am I so hopeless? Why do I keep blushing? It is not like I have not seen it all before. What is there to be shy about? I met her beautiful, glistening eyes, and chuckled softly. Seeing that I was laughing at her, she steeled herself and walked over. She held her fair little hand up to my lips. It hurts again. Why do you not blow on it again? Or give it a kiss? Nervous and uneasy, Feng Wanning thought. Jiang Chen is teasing me on purpose. If he can tease me, why can I not tease him back? I looked at the little hand suddenly thrust toward me and froze for a moment. I truly had not expected Feng Wanning to do that. I thought that after I teased her like that, she would glare at me, then flee to the shower to avoid me. I did not expect her to grow bolder. I nodded with a soft laugh. All right. I blew gently on the little hand before me, then kissed it. It does not hurt now, right? Feng Wanning wanted to say something to save face, but her mind went blank. Looks like it does not hurt. If it hurts again later, tell me. I will blow on it again. Feng Wanning stared at me, red-faced. Looking at her expression, I belatedly realized what I had said. It was a little awkward. Really? Whenever it hurts, I can come to you for a blow. Hearing those suggestive words, I was unusually at a loss for an answer. I could handle anything else with ease. But in matters like this, I was a complete novice too. Feng Wanning saw that she had teased me speechless, and felt secretly pleased. Is that not allowed? I looked at Feng Wanning and said flatly, it is fine when Jiang hits you. Do you want me to call Jiang over to hit you now? Feng Wanning's face went red as she gritted her teeth. No need. Then she fled into the bathroom. To show her remorse, Jiang came to the Feng residence early the next morning. Grandpa Feng, I am sorry. I was too impulsive yesterday. I should not have laid a hand on Feng Wanning. Do not worry, Grandpa Feng. I will never do anything like that again. Old Master Feng was very pleased with Jiang's attitude. Jiang, my child. You and Wanning have been friends for so many years. If Wanning does anything wrong, you can tell her so she can correct it. If she will not listen, tell Grandpa Feng. I will set her straight. Putting your hands on her will hurt your friendship. Yes, Grandpa Feng. I understand. I am not some stubborn old man who holds a young person's mistakes over their head. But what exactly did Wanning do to make Jiang so angry? So what did Sister Wanning do to make you so angry? Jiang was too embarrassed to say. Grandpa Feng, it is nothing. Just a misunderstanding. That only made old Master Feng more curious. As they say, old hands know best. He tested the waters directly. Did Wanning do something to hurt your brother? Really, it is not that, Grandpa Feng. My brother and Feng Wanning. Why are they not up yet? Old Master Feng said with a smile. Maybe they were too tired last night and are still sleeping. Jiang's cheeks flushed faintly. Too tired last night. Those words were impossible not to read into. Then old Master Feng asked with a smile. Jiang, would you prefer a nephew or a niece? A nephew or niece? Jiang looked utterly confused. Pregnant? Could Feng Wanning be pregnant? No way. She has only been married to my brother for such a short time. How could it happen so fast? Is Wanning pregnant? No. I was only asking. Jiang let out a breath of relief. Then she began seriously considering it. A nephew or a niece? If it were my brother's child, I would hope for a boy. One who takes after my brother. But if the child took after Feng Wanning? Eek. She immediately pushed that frightening thought away. I prefer a nephew. Old Master Feng nodded. We think alike. Jiang nodded knowingly. That old-fashioned mindset was deeply ingrained. It was perfectly normal for an elderly man to prefer boys. But what if? What if they have a daughter who looks like Wanning? Old Master Feng glanced at Jiang. This child used to seem quite likable. Why was she so irritating now? Old Master Feng rolled his eyes at Jiang. You had better pray that their child does not take after Feng Wanning. Why? Old Master Feng said in exasperation. Because then your brother will end up just like me, worrying himself sick over his child. Jiang, over the years, how many times has this useless granddaughter of mine made me angry? You have seen it with your own eyes. Honestly, only Grandpa Feng's tough constitution has kept Feng Wanning from driving him to an early grave. Do not worry, Grandpa Feng. Their child definitely will not take after Feng Wanning. Just then, Feng Wanning and I came downstairs. We happened to hear that remark. Jiang, what nonsense are you spouting so early in the morning? Jiang is getting more outrageous by the day. She even hit me yesterday. And now, first thing in the morning, she is telling Grandpa that our child cannot take after me. What an awful woman. Jiang and old Master Feng looked over. Jiang noticed the obvious dark circles under my eyes. Feng Wanning must have worn my brother out. She would not let him sleep. Was I wrong? If the child takes after you, the Feng family will be finished sooner or later. Old Master Feng nodded beside her in agreement. This was why I went to such lengths to find Zhan Chen. I hope the two of them could improve the family's gene pool. The Feng family has had poor genes for 2 generations. I turn out fairly well. But I had a son who was hopelessly ruled by love. Then that lovesick son gave me this troublesome granddaughter. If we do not find superior genes to save the Feng family, the next generation will probably be love-addled and spoiled too. The Feng family will truly be doomed. Feng Wanning looked at Jiang and her grandfather. I am furious. What does Grandpa mean by this? I am Grandpa's actual granddaughter. Jiang talks about me like that. And it would be one thing if Grandpa did not defend me. But he actually agrees with Jiang. Do I have any standing at all in this family? I looked at Feng Wanning, who was pouting, and admonished my younger sister. Jiang. You cannot speak about your sister-in-law like that. Feng Wanning glanced at me. Was I wrong? As long as my husband is here, I have a place in this family. Jiang looked between Feng Wanning and me. Sister-in-law was such an unfamiliar, awkward word. I cannot bring myself to say it. Feng Wanning asked, What are you doing at my house so early? I came to see my brother. That gave me a fright. I thought Chen had sent Jiang here to beat me up. Jiang had not eaten yet, so everyone had breakfast together. Feng Wanning and I each drove our own cars to work, but Jiang insisted on riding with Feng Wanning. Feng Wanning refused. We are not going the same way. Ride with your brother. The Feng group and Zhang group are in opposite directions. I do not care. I am riding with you. Enough talking. Drive. With no other choice, Feng Wanning started the car. Sitting in the passenger seat, Jiang said, Can you show a little restraint from now on? Restrain myself from what? My brother is already worn out from work. During the day, you need to restrain yourself at night. This is so embarrassing. Feng Wanning had no intention of restraining herself. She refused outright. No. Your brother and I are newlyweds. Why should I hold back? Jiang looked at the utterly unapologetic Feng Wanning. There was nothing more she could say. She ended the conversation. I received a message from Feng Wanning. Liu Ryan and the others now know we are married. They keep demanding that I treat them to dinner. Do you want to come? I agreed. Feng Wanning arranged the dinner. We left work early and hurried to the restaurant. Feng Wanning did not invite many people. There were only Liu Ryan, Bai Yi, Shi Youai, and a few other female friends she was close to. Everyone arrived one after another. Those who did not know were surprised to see me, and even more surprised after Feng Wanning introduced me. How had Feng Wanning gotten married without telling anyone? And how was her husband so handsome? Bai Yi arrived last. Bai Yi did not come alone. She brought along a sunny, handsome man. Quite a few people exchanged knowing looks. They teasingly kept sizing up Feng Wanning and me. I was good at reading people. The instant that man appeared, I realized Feng Wanning and this man had an unusual relationship. The man smiled brightly as he walked up to Feng Wanning. Feng Wanning, this is a gift I brought you from my trip. Feng Wanning accepted the gift and politely said, "Thank you." Then she linked her arm through mine. "Let me introduce you. This is my husband, Jiang Chen. Chen. This is my friend, Zhan Xingci." Zhan Xingci froze, his eyes widening. He stared at Feng Wanning in disbelief, then looked at me. "What? Feng Wanning? What are you talking about? Did I hear that wrong?" Feng Wanning called him her husband. I was only away for a month. How did Feng Wanning get married? Impossible. I never heard a thing. I do not believe it. Feng Wanning must be lying to me. But why would Feng Wanning lie to me? I spoke politely. "Hello. I am Wanning's husband." The light instantly faded from Zhan Xingqi's eyes. His expression filled with hurt and grievance. He looked at Feng Wanning. "Feng Wanning, what are you saying? You did not even have a boyfriend. How do you suddenly have a husband? Did you hire someone just to reject me, to put on this act?" Feng Wanning's voice was icy. "No. I am married. We have already registered our marriage. He is Jiang's brother." Zhan Xingci was close with their circle of friends and knew Jiang well. He could see that Jiang and I did resemble each other. Given Jiang Chen's family background, Jiang Chen would never play along with Feng Wanning in such a pointless charade. Otherwise, how could he ever find a wife within their circle? So they really were married. Zhan Xingci looked at us both, and his eyes instantly reddened. I regret it. I should not have gone on that trip. Then I would have found out right away that Feng Wanning was getting married. Maybe I could have stopped it. Feng Wanning looked displeased. "This is the first dinner we have hosted since getting married. Do not ruin the mood. Otherwise, do not blame me for asking you to leave." Now that everyone was there, they began dinner. Everyone offered their blessings to us. The atmosphere was lovely. Though Zhan Xingci was unhappy, he did not cause any trouble. He simply sat there, looking at Feng Wanning one moment, then at me the next. Whenever I noticed his gaze, I looked back at him. Seeing me glance at Zhan Xingci now and then, Feng Wanning felt uneasy. Could Jiang Chen think there was something between Zhan Xingci and me? There is not. We are completely innocent. I have never even dated a boyfriend. Nor have I ever been involved with any man. After all, none of them ever measured up. After dinner, everyone moved on to a private club, where they played games, sang, and drank. Everyone had a wonderful time. I sat on the couch, watching Feng Wanning sing. She had a beautiful voice, and she sang with effortless style. I simply watched her quietly. When the song ended, it was Zhan Xingqi's turn. Holding the microphone, Zhan Xingci suddenly turned off the music and looked at me. "Brother Chen, I know you do not love Feng Wanning." The moment he said that, everyone fell silent and looked at Zhan Xingci. "Brother Chen, I love her deeply. As long as you're willing to divorce Feng Wanning, name your terms." I asked around our circle just now. "You went abroad after high school and have rarely returned these past few years, while Feng Wanning has remained in China. The two of you barely had any contact. Without contact, there could not be feelings. This sudden marriage must be a business arrangement between wealthy families. It is all about profit. Then I'll use profit to persuade you to, and make you divorce her." Feng Wanning's delicate brows drew together. Anger flashed in her clear eyes. "What nonsense are you spouting?" Zhan Xingci said earnestly. "Feng Wanning, he doesn't love you. And you don't love him either. You will never be happy together. I'm trying to save you. Feng Wanning rolled her eyes at him. Who do you think you are? Some kind of savior? Save me, indeed. Seeing Feng Wanning was angry, Zhan Xingci thought, forget it. She loves him. Her heart is already on his side. How could I possibly argue with her? He turned to me instead. Any terms I name? Feng Wanning turned to stare at me in disbelief. What does Jiang Chen mean by that? He cannot seriously be considering it, can he? Feng Wanning's brows furrowed. If he dares divorce me and make me a divorcee, I'll kill him. I spoke with a smile. 10 billion, no stocks. No antiques or jewelry either. I want cash and real estate. Someone beside Feng Wanning lightly nudged her and teased with a smile. Well, Miss Feng is quite valuable, huh? Feng Wanning shot her an irritated glare. Zhan Xingci fell silent, his expression grim. I do not have 10 billion in cash and real estate. If I did, I would give it to you. What? You don't have it. Why do you need so much? I glanced at Feng Wanning beside me and said, you don't think she's worth it? In your heart. Is Feng Wanning not worth 10 billion? Zhan Xingci thought I was humiliating Feng Wanning. How could he be so cruel? To me. Feng Wanning is priceless. Well, if she's priceless, then trading 10 billion for her should be something you're willing to do, right? I am. I just don't have that much money. I may be a rich heir, but not every rich heir can come up with 10 billion. I smiled. So, what will you do? Zhan Xingci looked utterly hopeless. How should I know what to do? When he said nothing, I continued. How about I wait for you? Work hard and make the money. Come find me once you've earned enough. How long would it take me to earn 10 billion? I know my own limits. I'm just a rich heir coasting through life. I have no head for business at all. But for Feng Wanning, I'll work hard. Zhan Xingci vowed solemnly. You said it. Wait for me. Once I earn that 10 billion and give it to you, you'll divorce Feng Wanning. I nodded. Yes, I said it. You're all witnesses. Fine, we'll bear witness. Ha. Zhan Xingci, you had better work hard. Hurry up and earn that 10 billion. Otherwise, in a few decades, Feng Wanning will be old and faded. What use would there be in paying 10 billion for her then? Wanning grabbed a piece of fruit from the platter and threw it at her. You're the one who's old and faded. The woman caught it, took a bite, and teased. A fruit chosen by the delicate hand of a 10 billion heiress. No wonder it's so sweet. Ha. Those hands of a 10 billion heiress must be worth well over $1 billion. Of course the fruit is sweet. Zhan Xingci said with complete sincerity. Don't listen to them. No matter how old or unattractive you become, I'll still love you. Feng Wanning gave a cold snort. As if I am the only one who will grow old and ugly. As though all of you are immortal, with eternal youth. Why not stop pining after Feng Wanning? How about me instead? Feng Wanning costs 10 billion. I'll give you half off 5 billion. Ha. You're all terrible. You're getting your laughs from my misery. They kept partying until 1 in the morning before calling it a night. But Zhan Xingci had left at 10. I don't want to stay and watch those to flaunt their love. I'm going home to figure out how to make money. Feng Wanning and I returned home. The moment we entered the bedroom, Feng Wanning confronted me. So, was the price too low or too high? Feng Wanning had been dwelling on it, and it had soured her entire evening. Relax. Zhan Xingci cannot come up with 10 billion. What if he does? What if Zhan Xingci really earns 10 billion? I looked at her rosy lips, my Adam's apple bobbing. If he actually comes up with it, then I suppose I'll reluctantly accept it. Feng Wanning was so angry that she punched me. Jiang Chen, you bastard. You really planned to sell me? I reached out and took her wrist, gently pulling her into my arms. My nose brushed the top of her hair, breathing in her faint gardenia scent. My heart softened completely. I'd sell anyone before I'd sell you. My Miss Feng is priceless. Such a smooth talker. That isn't what you said at the club. You demanded 10 billion without blinking. You're money crazy. I let out a low laugh, my fingertips caressing her smooth cheek. Wasn't I just helping you get rid of trouble? Anyone with eyes can see he has feelings for you. If I didn't make it clear, he'd keep bothering you. Feng Wanning fell silent for a few seconds. Her little hand clutched the hem of my shirt. Her voice muffled. He's just an ordinary friend. I've never had any other feelings for him. I know. I looked down at the reddened corners of her eyes. I knew in my heart that although this girl seemed spoiled, she was truly innocent. Friends came and went around her, but she always knew where the boundaries lay. I saw it when Jiang shoved her outside the company over a misunderstanding. That was when I realized it. She may seem willful and demanding, but she never truly holds grudges against those close to her. Even when Liu Ryan and Shi Youai pressured her into drinking, she only grumbled about it afterward. She never truly held it against them. When I first agreed to marry her at old Master Feng's request, it was for the Feng family's resources, and to fulfill his wishes, to help her become capable, and have an heir for the Feng family. But the longer we spent together, the more I realized that this girl everyone dismissed as a spoiled heiress had the purest heart. She would grow downcast when I went on a week-long business trip, get jealous when I had dinner with Yunshu, and awkwardly draw close whenever I was exhausted. When Jiang misunderstood us, she blushed as she admitted how close we were. Those little moments had long since transformed my once cold plan into a heart full of tenderness. Why you really believe me? I lowered my head and kissed her forehead. Of course. I've always believed you. Feng Wanning's cheeks instantly flushed red. She pushed me away, then turned toward the bathroom, pretending to be calm. I'm taking a shower. I'm not talking to you. This girl was always tough on the outside, soft on the inside. Early the next morning, I had just come downstairs when I saw Jiang sitting in the dining room, staring at me with resentment. Feng Wanning came over carrying a glass of milk. When she saw Jiang's expression, she could not help laughing. Jiang, with that look on your face, who owes you money? Jiang glared at her, then turned to me. You didn't sleep well again last night. The dark circles under your eyes are practically hanging to your chin. Feng Wanning, could you show a little restraint? Feng Wanning's face turned bright red. Jiang, can you stop saying things like that? Old Master Feng came in from outside, just in time to hear. Young people have plenty of energy. Perfectly normal. I'm still waiting to hold my great-grandchild. Too embarrassed to face them, Feng Wanning hid behind me, clutching my shirt and saying nothing. I gently patted her hand and looked at Jiang. Stop teasing your sister-in-law. Eat up? Then get to the office. Brother, I really don't want to work. I just want to be a rich heir who doesn't have to do anything. No, you've had enough fun. It's time you learn how to run the company. You'll have a share in the Zhang family's businesses someday. Liu Ryan and Shi Youai's parents had long since taken my advice and sent them to work at the company too. Now, the three girls who once only knew how to have fun went to work together every day. Though they never stopped complaining, they gradually settled down. Their spoiled tempers were slowly tempered by work. This was exactly what I wanted. In the car, she suddenly spoke. Why did you agree to marry me in the first place? My hands paused on the steering wheel. I turned to look at her. Do you want the truth? Yes, the truth. At first, your grandfather came to me. His offer was impossible to refuse, and I agreed to two conditions. Help you grow into someone capable, and have an heir for the Feng family. But now, I only want to build a good life with you. Feng Wanning, it isn't because of profit, nor is it because of our arrangement. It's because of who you are. She suddenly looked up at me. Her eyes were filled with surprise and a trace of disbelief. Why you really mean that? I do. I love your spoiled side. I love your innocence. I love how you act tough, but have a soft heart. I love every moment I spend with you. This marriage of convenience. I started taking it seriously long ago. Jiang Chen, why didn't you tell me sooner? I thought you were doing it all for grandfather's agreement. This is my fault. I've made you suffer. At the office, I had just finished my work when Yunshu called. Jiang Chen, are you free tonight? There's a class reunion. Everyone wants you to come. No. I'm spending tonight with my wife. Yunshu was silent for a few seconds. I understand. I wish you happiness. I hung up. I felt nothing at all. The friendship we once shared as classmates had faded with time. Now, Feng Wanning was the only one in my heart. When work ended that evening, I had just reached the ground floor when I saw Feng Wanning waiting beside the car. She held an insulated food container. "What are you doing here?" I hurried over and took it from her hands. "I brought you some soup." She tipped up her face. "Uncle Zhao made bird's nest soup. He said it's good for your health." My heart warmed. I took her hand and led her into the car. Then we headed home. When we arrived home hand in hand, old Master Feng saw us and could not stop smiling. "I've arranged the wedding. It will be held in 2 months. The whole city will know. I want everyone to know that you are the rightful son-in-law of the Feng family." "We'll do as you say, grandfather." That night, as we lay in bed, Feng Wanning nestled in my arms. She whispered, "I used to think marriage was a burden, a task grandfather forced on me. But now, I feel so happy. We'll be even happier from now on." She suddenly looked up, her eyes shining brightly. "Oh, I've been learning the business of the company lately. Grandfather says I'm improving quickly. Soon, I'll be able to help you run the company. My Wanning is the best." The heiress, who once only knew how to eat, drink, and have fun, had gradually grown up. She could stand on her own. The promise I made to old Master Feng had finally been fulfilled. Day after day passed. Liu Ryan, Shi Youayu, and Jiang Jiang gradually found their footing at the company. Their old spoiled ways faded away, and they became more mature. Zhan Xingci never troubled Feng Wanning again. Occasionally, they crossed paths in social circles, but only exchanged polite nods. He had let go of his obsession. Yunshu found her own happiness as well. Our paths never crossed again. All the old entanglements gradually faded into peace. Good people lived peaceful lives. Those trapped by obsession let go of the past. Everything moved in the best possible direction. 3 months later, Feng Wanning held a pregnancy test report and ran into my office, her eyes red. "Jiang Chen, I'm pregnant." I shot to my feet. As I took the report, my hands trembled slightly. I looked at the result, my heart bursting with joy. I crouched down, gently wrapped her in my arms, and kissed her forehead. "Wanning, thank you." When old Master Feng heard the news, he was so excited he nearly cried. "Wonderful, pass on my orders. Double the salaries of every Feng Group employee. No, give everyone a raise." I put aside most of my work to focus on caring for Feng Wanning during her pregnancy. During her pregnancy, she became a little more spoiled and temperamental. Whatever she craved, no matter how late it was, I would go buy it myself. When morning sickness made her miserable, I stayed by her side all night, gently patting her back to comfort her. I once thought marriage was a transaction of interest, and having a child was merely fulfilling an agreement. But now I understood. With her by my side, and our child soon to be born, this was the home I truly wanted. After 10 months of pregnancy, the day of delivery finally came. Outside the delivery room, I could neither sit nor stand still. My palms were soaked with sweat. When I heard the baby's loud cry, the weight on my heart finally lifted. The nurse came out carrying the baby, smiling as she said, "Mr. Zhang, it's a boy. Mother and son are both safe." I hurried into the delivery room. "Wanning, you've been through so much. Jiang Chen, look at our baby." Old Master Feng named the child Zhang Yanfeng. The name meant longing for Feng Wanning, symbolizing that we would be together for life. On the baby's 1-month celebration, the wedding and celebration banquet were held together. It was a magnificent occasion. Jiang Jiang held her little nephew, unable to stop smiling. "Brother, sister-in-law, this baby is so adorable. I'll cherish him dearly from now on." Liu Ryan and Shi Youayu smiled too. "Wanning, you are so happy now. We're all jealous." Feng Wanning nestled in my arms. She looked at everything before her, smiling, full of happiness and contentment. "Wanning, this marriage that began with an agreement, I will answer it with a lifetime of love. For all our days ahead, through every meal and every season, with our children around us, we'll be together forever. Jiang Chen, having you is wonderful." Sunlight poured through the banquet hall's glass windows, falling over us, warm and dazzling. The marriage that was once a sham had long become a love etched into our souls. A fortune in the billions cannot compare to the one beside your pillow. Even a spoiled wife can become the love of your life.